Hello everybody. Thank you for downloading this video. It's another one in our range of spending time with the business partners to ARC. As we all know, our business partners play a very important role in the business of the association, specifically around the fact that they act as sponsors and thereby able to keep our membership fees to the member estates as low as possible. So we've run a number of these with various business partners, and this particular session is one I've been looking forward to most because we're going to be discussing a concept called Contactless Biometrics, which we'll get into the meat of in a minute. I'm joined today by Nicholas Garcia, who's a regional director of Idemia. The company is called Idemia, and we're going to be dealing with some of the specifics in relation to this wonderful solution of frictionless biometrics, especially now where social distancing and sanitization and all of these good things have come to the fore. So it's very relevant, it's very appropriate, and we urge you to take note of the issues we're going to be discussing, and then to contact Nicholas, who can put you onto some of his service teams to come and have a more in-depth discussion, perhaps do a more in-depth needs analysis of your situation and provide you with a proposal. So, Nicholas, welcome and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you for having me, and hello to all your viewers.
Cool. Thank you, Nicholas. All right, so let's kick this one right off. And I'm going to ask it outright. In respect of whether you have found an increased interest in contactless biometrics, specifically over the course of the last couple of months. Is there a migration across all organizations, specifically residential communication or residential communities rather? Is there a migration towards this new technology that is available?
Yes, so the short answer is yes, we've seen a big uptake. We've been involved with the residential market, for quite some time. Over the past few years, we've brought all the best of technology, going from the normal contact biometrics. And 2 years ago, we started to bring to the community the MorphWave Compact, which is a contactless product where you just wave your hands instead of touching. So that was already very well received. But yes, over the past 3-4 months, unfortunately, with the crisis, the pandemic of COVID-19, we've seen a huge uptake on the market, and especially in the real estate. I think we can discuss it a bit more in details later, but we are extending our range of contactless products, so it's not just what you are already using, but it's also what you might feel more comfortable using in future.
Fantastic. So when we talk about contactless biometrics, you mentioned the notion of the hand and just scanning the hand. I've seen that at an estate in Honeydew where they have used your product very, very successfully. And it just makes an awful amount of difference, especially in time saving, because the security guards don't necessarily have to take a swab and wipe that small little screen onto which you put your finger, which is a contact, which requires sanitization after every single use. And it just seems as if it speeds up the process of allowing people access and egress to that particular community. So privacy, I know, is quite a concern, specifically with the promulgation of the POPI Act and the gathering of information, how is the protection of privacy ensured through the use of this technology?
Sure. So privacy is definitely a huge topic, I think, for everybody in South Africa, of course, but everybody everywhere in the world. It's very big. So there are a few points to outline. The first one is that us as Idemia, as a company, we are a technology provider. So what we do is we make sure that the technology fits with the needs of our customers, our users. So in this case, the residential estates. We make sure that they've got all the tools to make what they have to do, which is allowing access to the right people and keeping the wrong people outside as easy as possible. So we provide the technology, and with that in mind, we do not keep any data at all as Idemia. Once the technology is on site, that's where the privacy compliancy really needs to take place. And again, with our products, that's what we help you to do. So that being said, we are always happy to discuss. We engage. We've done it with many residential estates. We went to see them. We sat. We discussed their needs. The privacy challenge, let's put it like that way, came up, and we discussed it. So there is no problem. What we do is a few things to protect the user privacy. Okay. The first one is that we are working with the concept of intent area. So should it be with the MorphoWave Compact, which, as I mentioned, and you also mentioned it, is contactless, you wave your hand, or should it be with our new facial reader product, the Vision Pass? You cannot use it by mistake, right? So if you use the facial recognition device, you can't just pass by and it looks at you, takes a picture, use your data for something which is not intended. We have an intent area which is about 70 centimeters from the reader. So definitely you need to go in front of the reader to use it. When you look at the MorphoWave with your hand, it's the same. You can only wave, I'm extending my arm now. You cannot go further than your arm. So really to use the product, you need to be at an arm's distance of the product.
Yes.
The other things that I would like to mention here is that all the information that are captured by our solution are only the information which is necessary. They are all encrypted. So even in the unlikely event that somebody would hack into the system, copy the data or do anything like that, there is nothing that they can do with it because it's completely encrypted. It's no longer a picture, it's no longer a text, it's nothing, it's encrypted. So you can only use it for the system. And obviously, if the user, for instance, in a residential estate, you've got residents coming in, coming out, moving in, moving out. So when they move in, it's normal to take their details because they're part of the community. Tomorrow, if they decide to move out, then it's very simple through the normal regulatory process to delete all the data from the system. So in this case, the privacy issue is handled from the one end to the other end. But again, because it's such a complex topic sometimes, we're happy to engage with the residential complexes and the estate managers, to discuss that with them and find the best solution.
So, geez, you've got those bases all covered. You mentioned that you don't keep any of the data, which I found really, really important. And I know estates ask that question a lot. The second one was the notion of encryption, where it's not listed, and if it so happens to be hacked, the hackers can do nothing with it. So that makes a lot of sense. And the third was the ease of deletion, and that's quite a key component of the POPI Act, is when people leave, does that information still sit there, and could it be used for ulterior motives once they've left? And you've got that beautifully covered. So thanks for that. That was very insightful. So you spoke about facial recognition. And you know what? One thing is very clear. In the area of security, if we don't stay abreast and adapt and change technology to beat the criminal, if you like, it's like in law. If you don't stay abreast with new laws and new legislation, you're not going to last long as a lawyer. And the same would apply here in your community. If you don't continually budget for and upgrade your solutions, specifically in the area of access, because that's your hotspot. You know, you can secure the fence as much as you like, and you've got cameras and you've got controls. That's the one place where human element is involved. So new technology is key, and we just have to adapt. Now we're talking, you know, we started with cards and then codes and then migrated to fingerprints, and then there was a lot of talk about fingerprints and, you know, what if I don't have one? What if I'm a contractor and it's rubbed off? Then we migrated now to morph. Now we talk about eyes and faces and all of these things. One of the areas that has come up with facial recognition is the notion of light, specifically low light. Does your facial recognition technology keep its accuracy irrelevant of the environment, light, rain, etc., etc.?
Sure, I'm glad you asked the question. So I'd like to basically to bounce a little bit back on what you just said. And the fact of the matter is, when you, as a real estate, decide to invest in a technology to secure your entrance, you want to make sure that you don't just invest in something for the short term. You want to make sure that you invest for the long term. So as you mentioned, we went through the contactless with the fingerprint. Now we're moving to the facial, and definitely we didn't want to just bring a product to the market just for the sake of having something on the market. You know, we pride ourselves in being the world leader in biometric technology, and so logically we brought that to the Vision Pass as well. So a few points to mention on the Vision Pass. The first one is that it is IP65 certified, which means, for those who don't know, that it's water and dust resistant, so it can be used both indoor and outdoor. Okay. And obviously, when you use it outdoor, which is the case here for the real estate at the gates, you've got the problem of lights, so low lights and so on. So what we did with this product is it's actually coming supercharged with different technologies. It's not just one camera that will look at you and decide you can come in, you can't come in. It's actually a combination of 3 cameras. So the first one is a normal 2D cameras, okay? So like your normal camera that takes a 2D picture. Yeah. The second one is a 3D camera. So what it does is it's taking different points on your face just to make sure that there is like a perspective, that there is depth, and it's not just a camera that you show in front of the 2D picture. The camera as a 2D picture, because obviously if you do that, it defeats the purpose. It just just don't put anything in this case. And the third camera, coming back to your point, is an infrared camera. So what it does is it doesn't really look at your picture as such. It's looking really at your heat map, the heat map of your face. Yeah. And with these 3 cameras and the 3 pictures that we capture simultaneously, it really creates something much more solid than just a normal 2D picture. So if one of the 2 technology is a little bit low, because, for instance, low light or something like that, then another one can cater for it. So in this case, the infrared camera will be the one capturing in the low light. So which brings us like a very, very good quality and performance on low light. But it's not only the only thing that it does. It does all of that, right? Yeah. It's fit for what the person is wearing as well. It's not compromising on the security. At the worst case, if really there's somebody, let's say with like something on hiding the face completely, then obviously in this case it wouldn't be able to read the face, but it will just reject the person. It won't let the person in. So we do those type of things. It's got a wide angle capture as well, which means that you can come at with different heights. So you can be on a wheelchair, we take down to 1.2 meter, or you can be like very high, or in a car quite high, we take up to 2 meters. So it's quite versatile. We always say, I mentioned that very briefly at the beginning of our interview, but we always say that our solution, we pride ourselves in bringing solutions that adapt to the end user and not the other way around. You know, the problem is when you want your users to adapt to a system, then they reject it, they don't use it. So it's just not worth it. And the last point, I'm speaking quite a lot, but to show you how proud I am of this product. The last point is that it's very fast. So with the Morphwave Compact, we had 45 people per minute and more. When you use a facial recognition device, it's more challenging, but yet we are still achieving an average of 30 people per minute. So in your case, obviously, if you have to stop with the car, there is a bit more delay, but what I mean is in terms of identification through the reader, it's very, very fast.
Okay, great. That was fantastic, Nicholas. Thanks so much for that. When you were talking about the technology that goes behind the various cameras that could cater for any environments, that reminded me of my wife's new phone that she's got, and one of the features was facial recognition. And it's simple, just hold it up and click and she's in, and the screen opens. You don't have to put a code in anymore. We don't have to put fingers on anymore, which often had its problems if you're a bit sweaty and things. So it was fascinating to hear about the actual technology that goes into this. And that's why, pricing sometimes, although it should never be affected by security, pricing is important. And what I know Nicholas has said to us many times, as has many of his staff who have come to our chapter meetings, let's get a meeting going, let's look at your needs, let's look at your requirements, and let's adjust something to suit your estate. We're going to put the details of Idemia up at the end of this presentation. If you miss it because you're sitting in your car with your mobile device, please email me on jeff@hoasupport.co.za, and I'll put you in direct contact with Idemia. Irrelevant of where you are, they're a national organization. In fact, they're an international organization. So we will be able to do that for you. Nicholas, it was great having you, and thanks for that insightful presentation on the wonderful new range of products. It's been great having you, Nicholas.
Thank you, Jeff. Thanks for having me. And again, thank you for the confidence that ARC is showing us. Thank you.
Of course. Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.